Welcome, all you Blood Angels fanatics. This is Spruce and Studs, and we are in the midst of a Blood Angels review block in which I am very excited about. We started this block off with the revised Sanguinary Guard, and now we are continuing with this newly released Blood Angels Captain with the Inferno Pistol and the Power Fist. Thankfully, this train will keep continuing with the Blood Angels Captain in gold, as well as the Sanguinary Priest. However, we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So join me in this review of the Red Captain to see if there was an improvement in the overall quality of this action figure over the Sanguinary Guard. The golden laurels accent the red of the helmet really well. The weave of the leaves also seems tighter than the other laurels previously. It's always good to see shading on the armor panels, and in fact, the vents on the mask are also painted as opposed to this V3 Intercessor. The bareheaded version looks highly detailed as well. The tight blonde curls have a bunch of shading on it, and I would have to say that the determined expression is very appropriate for a Marine of his rank. If you join me during the review of the revised Sanguinary Guard, then this chest area should rather look familiar to you with the pec-filled chest plate and the lone blood tear that is hanging out in the middle by itself. Again, what makes this area, and in fact the whole Marine, look a lot less dull is the gratuitous shading that is happening all over the place. It looks absolutely fantastic, actually brings the action figure to life more. Then the torso area is quite the work of art with this six-pack this guy is rocking. Now taking a look at this left pauldron, first of all, the chapter symbol looks absolutely fantastic. JoyToy really fleshed out this icon by giving it highlights on the wing edges that make the void black wings stand out. Now on the other side we have something that is rather confusing to me. So this right pauldron is supposed to denote the ranking of a blood angel, and usually when the pauldron has a red stripe that is sandwiched in between these two yellow stripes, that denotes a lieutenant. Yes, I'm aware that the captain has these colors as well, but usually they have a gold winged skull smack dab right in the middle. Instead, this one has a raised banner with the word Sanguius that is engraved into it. And so if you are enjoying this action figure review thus far, I would highly suggest you to hit that subscribe button, just because, well, I specialize in Warhammer 40K and Horus Heresy action figure review content, and wouldn't you like to see up-to-the-minute updates on your feed with the newest, latest, and greatest action figures? Well, if you do, you already know what to do. So this waist area was something that was lamenting, amongst other things, on the new Sanguinary Guard. I said that this buckle looked a little bit too plain, but I am glad that the captain's buckle addressed this issue with this fantastic looking Blood Angels icon. Anyway, I'm a big fan of this tasty Blood Angels iconography with the blood vial, the blood drop amulet, as well as this purity seal with another blood drop on it. I've also noticed that as of late that the pouches and the holsters are attached by a ball and socket joint, which make it much easier to swap out or just snap back right in if they were to fall off. So this left leg would have looked completely barren if it wasn't for how much shading that helps the area. Also, this musculature really helps bring out the character of this region of the Space Marine. The right leg, on the other hand, is a mirror reflection of the left leg, except that the shin region has a massive and most welcomed Blood Angels chapter symbol. The front of the cape is night black, with some nice winged blood tears for accents that are on the side. I would have appreciated some highlights on the ridges of this cape because it just looks a bit too solid and boring looking. Then flipping around the cape, you have a nice gold embroidery with some stylistic blood tears, which I feel really belongs to the figure. So this backpack has a few upgrades over your regular Intercessor in that the center of it rocks a blood tear. These vents now are filled with a glorious black shading. And finally, there is an iron halo up top, which sits quite nicely on the top of the captain's head or helmet as depicted right here. The Inferno pistol looks fantastic with the black and gunmetal areas. I suppose the gold of the barrel helps define that this particular firearm belongs to a captain. Then the final thing that we're going to focus on is this lovely power fist over here. I'm really enjoying the deep shading on the fingers, and also of note, The power fist is static, so the fingers are not opposable and are closed in this position. The back of the fist is where all the decorations are located, and the blood tears that represent the knuckles are a very nice feature to have. I think that this close combat weapon is executed well, except for one small thing, which is the limitation of articulation due to this. So if you are rotating the arm about this axis over here, there is obviously not going to be any inhibition of motion, because this is also one unit. But if you rotate it through the power fist area right here, you can see that there is going to be limitation of motion due to this cable. However, aside from that, there is absolutely no restriction of movement on the rest of this figure. Now let's get to talking about size comparison. So off to the left-hand side over here, we have a version 3 Blood Angels Intercessor, which is slightly smaller than the Captain. And then we have a full-on Space Marine 2 action figure by the way of Titus over here, which does tower over this Captain. And due to this figure being released about the same time, the Sanguinary Guard as well as the Captain are the same size. And finally, we have a Black Legion Chosen, as well as a World Eater's Berserker. And these are actually one of the more recent Warhammer 40K releases. And JoyToy seems to be doing something weird with their sizes in that they actually shrunk the sizes of the Captain as well as the Sanguinary Guard. So this decision is sort of interesting, which I will talk about at the end. Well, Blood Angels fans, I think we have a solid figure on our hands. JoyToy did a great job of conveying all the glory of the Blood Angels in this Captain, especially with the Iron Halo, the copious amount of Blood Angels type decorations, as well as the glorious looking and meaty power fist. So let's talk about a few things that kind of caught me off guard on this action figure. The first thing that we're going to be starting off with is the shading. I'm really shocked to see it because we really haven't seen depth of shading like this in a very long time, especially on the version 4 action figures. But you can see how much of a difference this re-edition makes on the character of the action figure. There just is a certain depth of flavor that is imparted by this very delicious design choice. Now, speaking of design choices, I kind of hate to stoke the fire of this, but I kind of have to because it is actually a very interesting thing to me. What I'm really puzzled on is the scaling of these action figures. The most recent Warhammer 40K action figure releases were the World Eaters as well as the Black Legion Chosen. And those action figures adopted the scale of the Space Marine 2 action figures. And that is the exact reason why I chose them in the size comparison. It's just strange that JoyToy was trending toward the Space Marine 2 type height, and now they're downtrending to a more modified version 4 height. I really don't know what they're doing with this height change, but I kind of wish, just like the rest of you all, that they should probably stick with one size. Anyways, regardless of the height, I think that this would be a very strong and welcome addition to any Blood Angels action figure collector. And if you are interested in buying this action figure, you already know to click on the link in the description below, where you'll be brought to David Toys. One of the biggest reasons why I actually like going to David Toys is because with the website, you can see exactly when these action figures are going to be released, or at least it will give you a window so you can plan your future purchases and where to allocate your money. So that is one big advantage of knowing. And when you check out, do not forget to use the code SNS to receive 12% off your purchase. And as I said before, I do receive commission on every single one of your purchases. That definitely helps me, but also helps you in the end, because every single cent that I make on commission gets pumped right back into the channel, so you are able to see more action figure reviews. So Blood Angels fans, please let me know in the comments section what you thought about this action figure. Do you think that this is a worthy release? Is this something that you're going to be picking up in the future? Or even if you have picked it up, I would like to hear what your opinion on him is. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this action figure review. I am very appreciative of all your likes, comments, subscribes, especially shares too, as all of this stuff helps strengthen the channel, and I would not be here if it wasn't for your strong support. So I have all of you to thank. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.